Hello guys and welcome back to HJW Gaming and another Age of Empires mobile guide, this time taking a look at gathering and how you can make your gathers as efficient as possible. If you find this guide useful, please smash the like button and please consider subscribing, as I am bringing out regular Age of Empires mobile guides, so hopefully you can find more of these that are useful to you in the future. Now, gathering is an extremely important mechanic within the overworld, as it does allow you to pretty much passively increase the number of resources that you have within your keep that you can then use for training units, upgrading buildings, or also conducting research. So resources are one of the key parts of this game and one of the key things that you need to maintain. Now, of course, you can gain these through increasing the buildings within your keep, but you'll mainly be getting these from gathering. And if you upgrade your gathering effectively enough, like I'm going to show you here, you should be able to access up to 10 million resources per day, which is an enormous boost on what you would get just through leveling buildings within your keep. With gathering this effective, you will save yourself a fortune that you otherwise would have spent, of course, on resource bundles that a lot of pay-to-win players do. And if you're a free or mid-spend player, this can really make the difference in increasing your power and staying in line with those pay-to-win players. Now, the premise of this method is using hero marches with commanders that have beneficial talent trees and skills for gathering. This both increases gathering yield as well as gathering speed, so you can reduce the amount of time it takes to fully strip a high level resource tile. This can be seen by the gathering bonus measure that you have at the bottom when building your army. So for example, if I allocate Cleopatra here, you can see my gather bonus goes up significantly. The reason for this is within Cleopatra's skill tree, she has the efficient harvest skill, which increases at level 1 the gathering speed for all resources by 14.35%. Of course, if I spend skill points here, I can increase that further and increase that gathering speed. Now, within the commander's talent tree, there are multiple options for increasing a gathering speed with Cleopatra, the first of which is available immediately, which will increase gathering speed by 5%. That takes 2 skill points, so you will need to get her to level 24 before you can access this talent. The second and third of these talents are available within the strategic preparation node, which requires 5 talent points to have been spent, and this is both gather resources, which increases your yield by 5%, and gathering speed, which increases the speed again by a further 5%. So in order to get these, you will have to have 7 of these talent points, which of course means getting Cleopatra to level 34. Her next gathering speed boost comes in the Suffering Raid node, which requires 25 talent points to have been spent, and that increases gathering speed again by 5%. However, I wouldn't recommend going this far down the skill tree, as it does require significant amount of resources to get her up to this level, which could probably be better spent on damage commanders. However, if you're a high spender looking to maximise your gathering as much as possible, you could continue looking down this skill tree and taking the relevant gathering skills. But for those low spending players, I'd recommend stopping at the previous talent examples. There is a further gather resources, increasing resource yield by 5% available under the War Hardened node, which requires 35 talent points to have been spent. And that is the final gather skill available in Cleopatra's talent tree. There are other skills related to gathering available, such as gathering defense. However, these are not required for maximum efficiency within this method. So where previously we had 27%, now I've put a few skill points into Cleopatra's skill, you can see it's now showing 30% for that gathering bonus. So by increasing the speed of our gathering, we can therefore get a higher yield per 24 hours of gathering. And there are 12 heroes which have beneficial skills to help with that gathering speed. And I'll go through them individually now. The next legendary we have is King Derek, who we looked at earlier, who has again the efficient harvest skill, as we've discussed, which can be upgraded to increase the gathering speed for your heroes. Now, of course, this could be useful, particularly if you're a free-to-play player, as you will likely be using King Derek in your main attack army, so you'll likely already have this skill slot upgraded. As, for example, if I'm using Earth Crush as my damage skill and I choose to upgrade this slot to level 20, when I'm doing some gathering, I can then just switch this over to Efficient Harvest, and I will have the level 20 Efficient Harvest skill available as well. So this could be good for making the most of your resources by upgrading a high damage commander that you're looking to use in your main army to then also use them as gathering when you are AFK. Similarly to Cleopatra, within Derek's talents, he does have a gathering speed increase available within his first military tactics node. And he has both a gathering yield and gathering speed increase available within his second node, which is Intrepid Warrior, both of which are available on the right hand side. And his next increase doesn't come until the Crushing Blow node, requiring 25 skill points to activate, and this increases gathering speed by a further 5%. Of course, you can switch talents around at the cost of only 50 Empire coins by using the reset in the top right. So if you're using King Derek as a primary damage commander, you will of course have probably already leveled him up and therefore be quite far down this talent tree. So you can just reset to switch between gather and damage as you see fit, and you'll probably get the benefit back of your Empire coins in the additional amount of resources that you can gather in that time. But lastly, for King Derek, within his Form the Ranks node, which requires 35 talent points to have been spent, he does also have an increased 5% yield talent available. The next commander with the Efficient Harvest skill is Darius the Great, again a legendary commander. And his talent tree sits broadly in line with Derek, so I won't run through this again, with of course the same nodes having gather skills available. However, as he's a reasonably poor damage commander, you're less likely to have him leveled up, so maybe spend some of your resources to get him towards a good level and get a number of these talents, but don't worry too much about maximising his level in order to get all of them, unless you're looking for literally the optimum gather. And lastly, for the legendary gather heroes, we have Sun Shin, who also has Efficient Harvest, and his talent tree as a tactician is in line with that of Cleopatra's, so again sits in line with her as far as where and which skills are available within the talent tree. With the legendary heroes, what I would recommend doing is increasing the commander's level to level 36, so that then you can take talents within the first and second node that relate to gathering speed and resource yield as well. So I'd recommend taking those, and they're not really going any further, because beyond here I think the cost of increasing their level becomes a little bit too steep. And then you can also spend points upgrading the Efficient Harvest skill on these legendary heroes as you see fit, depending on your budget for skill points, though I would prioritise upgrading skills for your main damage heroes first. Now, there are also 8 elite heroes which also have gathering related skills. The first of these is Buasi, who has Rapid Gathering, which would be the skill for most of the elite heroes, which is like a slightly subdued version of Efficient Harvest. And again, this can be upgraded to increase that resource gathering speed. And as a tactician, military speciality, his talent tree will be in line with that of Cleopatra, so you can just follow that guide again, and you can just take those skills depending on what level you've taken your commander to again increase your resource yield and resource speed. Now, for a lot of you free-to-play players, elite heroes are more widely available than a lot of the legendary heroes, so if you unlock these earlier, these can be a great boost to your gathering speed and a nice investment for a little bit of experience. The trade-off for that little bit of experience being that increased resource that obviously snowballs over time, so definitely worthwhile putting that tiny bit of investment in at the beginning just to make sure you get the most amount of gathering you possibly can from your elite heroes. And those of you that are big spenders, of course, can go all in and get all 12 of these commanders. The other 2 elite commanders who share the exact same skill and talent tree as Buasi are Huanxia and also Nino. as these are all tactician specialities, so we'll share the same talent tree, so you can just follow his guide or Cleopatra's to how to skill that talent tree. Epic heroes with the warrior military speciality, so we'll have the same talent skill tree as King Derek, are Queso and Narses. So again, you can follow the talent tree that I looked at earlier for King Derek, and that'll be applicable here as well. And they both obviously also have rapid gathering, the same skill as Baldesi. And then there are the remaining 3 epic rarity heroes with rapid gathering and also a talent tree related to gathering, and that is Leo, Leon, and also Thanius. Now, the talent tree is broadly in line with the others, with the skills still taking place in the same node. However, the skill tree name is slightly different due to them being a martial. Of course, we still have the gathering speed skill in the first node, as well as yield and gathering speed as well in the second node, Intrepid Warrior. Then the next boost for gathering speed coming under Crushing Blow in the 4th node. And then the final gathering resource comes in the penultimate node called Form the Ranks, giving that 5% resource gain. Now, when you combine these into one troop march, you can see you can get massive gathering bonuses. In this case, I'm at 89%, and that's with these heroes barely upgraded. If you choose to spend points on these commanders' skills, you can get that bonus up significantly higher. And of course, with 12 heroes available, you can create 4 full marches of gathering heroes. So therefore, you can gather all 4 resources at once with the enormous gathering speed boost, and that will allow you to gain up to 10 million resources per day when efficiently used. With all 3 commanders up to level 36, so you can take that second node of the talent tree with yield and more importantly gathering speed, you can actually fully strip a level 6 resource gathering tile in 10 hours, which is an enormous amount of resource. So you can therefore do 2.5 of these effectively per day per march that you use. So of course, if you send 4 marches, that is 1 million tiles fully stripped, which is insane. So 10 million of resource. Of course, if you push these levels up even higher and increase those yields even higher, your resource gathering can get even higher than that. So if you're a big spender and just looking for near limitless levels of resource, this is how you can do it. And for those free-to-play players who are looking to get a leg up on those, even those spenders who aren't looking to do as much gathering, this is how you can do it. Hopefully you guys have found this really useful. If you have, as I said earlier, smash the like button and please subscribe to see more of my guides upcoming in the future. And with that, I've been HJW Gaming, and I really hope to see you on the next one.